Hello and welcome to Nothing Happens. I'm Dave.
I'm Tom. We have a lot of opinions, but no facts.
Right, okay, so here we are again. It's me and Tom. Hi.
Hey.
But we've also got wait, what's his enthusiasm?
We've done a terrible introduction for you here. Sorry, but this is our special guest, Jason,
the local medieval bridge expert.
Yes.
Say hi, Jason.
Hello, I'm the foremost expert on medieval bridges in my company of 100 people.
And that will be the subject for this podcast.
And that is actually very fitting with our topic today, because we're going to be having an all-around discussion on what we think might happen in the new Game of Thrones season, which is coming out April. Is it April?
Yeah.
A lot happening
Season
in
8,
April.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So we're just going in April, but also things that we would like to see, and maybe things we don't want to see. So, just to get the ball rolling, Dave, what don't you want to see?
So there's obviously I'm going to focus on dragons because that's entirely my aspect.
You can't see this, listener, but behind Dave there is 3 shelves full of dragon models, and I was looking at this when he said, "I want dragons."
Hey, I have a passion.
Yes.
I've got no. I do not deny it.
Yeah, you need to get that dragon tattoo. They've gone out of fashion now, so it's fine.
Oh, great. Okay.
Are they ever in fashion? I don't know. I've never seen anyone with a dragon tattoo in my life.
Have you not seen the girl with the dragon tattoo?
Does she have a dragon on her back?
Does she actually have a dragon
On
tattoo?
the
I actually
cover.
Yes, it's the girl with the dragon tattoo.
Well, I didn't know if it was a metaphor or something. I haven't seen the film.
I mean,
seen it.
admittedly, the third book is called The Girl on Fire, and she's not on fire. But still,
And the second film is called The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest.
no, that's the third one. The second one is The Girl on
Does
Fire.
she kick a hornet's nest?
Yeah, I haven't read the third one.
You see, that's
He's
it.
reaching, he's
So,
reaching.
But she
it
did.
is.
I'm not reaching. She has a dragon tattoo. Have you not
Anyway,
seen the film?
Not
Right.
the American version.
I feel
right, yeah.
like we
Okay.
might be wandering slightly from the point here.
So okay. So I guess what don't I want to see? So yeah. So going on to the so you've now got obviously we finished the game off. The 7th season of Game of Thrones is now finished. You've only got one. You've got 2 good dragons, 1 evil dragon. So
Do you think we're going to get another dragon death?
Well, I actually think they're all going to get killed off.
Yeah.
I think at the end of this we're not going to get any dragons, and I really don't want to see that because I'm a big dragon fan. But I think we're going to lose both of the dragons in this season. I just think we've already lost one. We know they're vulnerable, especially to the Night King as well. You're obviously going to get an aerial battle. It's going to be reasonably good. I genuinely think we're going to get Jon Snow on one of the dragons as well. He's already had that sort of How to Train Your Dragon, pressing his hand up against the nose of one of Drogo or whichever one it is.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Just quickly, actually, I mean, even though I'm sure we're all maybe on the same page, how do we feel about this relationship? I mean,
What nephew and aunt? Are we on
nephew
about
and
now?
aunt, yeah. I mean, because I'm sorry, but when I watched it, how they've done the Lannister one,
Yeah.
was it was presented in a very bad light.
Yeah.
It was like, this is wrong. But
Yeah.
how they presented this one was almost like look, they're finally together and look how beautiful it is. And it was more of sort of like a shock moment, but there wasn't anything.
But they don't know yet. It's in
yes,
their eyes.
But it was still like I felt like I was watching something that was someone going, "Isn't it beautiful?" But they're related. But isn't it beautiful? It's like
that's gonna be so funny, isn't it? If like, you just get like into episode 3, they find out that they're aunt and nephew, and they just turn to each other and just go, "Ew!" and that's the end of the romance between them.
do you reckon that they're going to find out?
Oh God, they have to, yeah.
All right, okay.
Because Jon has to, because now Jon Snow has been found out that by Samwell that he is now the heir to the throne, isn't he?
Yes,
Yeah.
but can he get to Raventoon? Because he's still in this
But
library.
no. Sam left at the end of
He
the
did
season.
leave, didn't
he's
he?
left
God,
to go.
it's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while since we've. Once again, we come into something going, do you remember what happened? Vaguely.
Well, as usual, we have very strong opinions on this
Yeah.
podcast, and we don't do any research, so
Good
we know
points.
nothing, but we just have strong opinions.
So, Jason, what's your thought? You've been very quiet.
Yes,
what do I not want to see? Let's
Yes.
start with that.
just
Okay.
whatever you want.
Right. Okay, so firstly, what I don't want to see is everyone dying, which I don't think is going to happen. But you wouldn't be surprised if George Martin just killed everyone off. And he said himself it's not going to be that, but it's not going to be happy
It's like
ever
a
after.
blue wedding.
Yeah.
If he's going to kill anyone off, it's going to be at the wedding of Jon Snow and Daenerys
Yes,
Targaryen.
exactly.
Don't
Out of
get married!
interest, if he was to kill everyone, who would be the one character that you would want to survive?
Probably Sam.
I mean, he is the
Aw,
nice person.
But
yeah.
also, I think Cersei, because I think she's too-
Really?
I don't like her, but she's too
Every gay's favourite.
stereotypically.
Sorry, I did. That sounded bad. I'm sorry to talk. We'll come back to that. In a minute. Sorry, Jason.
I'm
Continue
gonna
your
have
point.
To edit that
We're going to
out.
edit that out later. Yeah, no, I think Cersei, because she's too stereotypically evil, she's too close to that trope that Martin doesn't like, which is, this person's completely evil, this person's completely good.
Right.
Obviously, the White Walkers are completely evil, but Cersei...
They're supernatural evil.
Yeah, and Cersei's the only character left, really, that's close to completely evil, and she shouldn't win.
Mm.
So I think all her family have died, and I think it's too predictable that she dies and loses. And I kind of want to see something different. I don't want that to be... I don't want it to all be predictable what happens.
Well, there is that weird thing, because all the seasons have always done episode, penultimate climax, like Hard Home and that kind of thing. All the big thing happens on the penultimate episode. And then, like, is the last episode of Game of Thrones going to be the trial of Cersei Lannister?
Well, this is. I mean, this is the thing. When you were saying that there's going to be 2 episodes for the big battle,
Yeah.
for me, I swear that there almost has to be 2 big battles though, and I'm interested to see which one comes first, because they are going to fight the army of the dead, the White Walkers, whatever. I mean, they are the dead, and that's the big fight.
And they're going to
but-
win that as well, aren't they? They
Well,
can't-
yeah, of course.
Obviously, yeah.
I mean, but that's going to be.
Or they might not. They might maybe the 2 battles that if there are going to be 2 battles, that could be Jon Snow goes up against the army of the dead, loses, something happens, and then Cersei's army has to come in, and then all of them finally will all go against the army of the dead.
Yeah, I
mean,
don't.
it might not,
but I
you know.
still believe that all of our humans are going to fight as well. I don't believe that they're just going to be united under this thing afterwards.
Right.
So to me, that's another battle that's going to happen. I'm really interested to see how they're going to do it, because I think it's only like how many episodes? 8? Is it 8
Six.
episodes? 6.
But
I mean,
like an hour and a
and a
half.
half.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
it is
okay
the,
then. Well,
it
that
is
is-
the equivalency of like
that's
10
like
episodes.
that's an
but
episode. That's as long as an episode of Sherlock.
I'm actually really worried that I'm going to be on holiday for the final episode when
Oh,
it comes out, and then
wow,
I just
yeah.
can't go on. I can't go on Facebook. I can't go on YouTube.
Can't
I
leave the house.
I can't leave. I will be on holiday. I will have to fly back on the plane, and someone on the plane is going to be talking about the final episode.
Why don't you just get a Now TV subscription, then you can watch it wherever?
Yeah. I guess
Incidentally,
I might
our
actually have
sponsor for today is Now TV. No, I'm just wouldn't that be great?
That would have been a perfect transition. into
That
it.
would have been fantastic.
And while Tom's talking about that, I've got some jelly babies for
Yeah.
whoever.
No, I swear Now TV is the only reason that I did it. Sorry, Game of Thrones
is the only reason why Now TV.
Why, it's the only reason why I got it, and then I kept it afterwards, and I was like, why have I kept this? There's nothing on it.
Yeah, it's just an iPlayer and Channel 4, isn't it, really?
It is.
If you want to buy a sports event. Why are we talking about Now TV anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
They're not
Sorry.
even paying
Because
us
they're
nothing.
our sponsor, Jason.
No,
we
paying
have
us
to
nothing.
bring them into it.
Oh,
I am looking forward to the big battle. I mean, I wonder. I'm obviously with all of the balls up in the air, and there's this theory as well that Bran is the Witch King, not the Witch
Night
King,
King,
the
yeah.
Night King.
He's the Night King, but he goes back in time or something.
that's a really interesting theory, isn't it?
I have a theory about the Mad King and Bran,
Yeah.
which is that that Bran sent his mind back and then told him to hold the door, and that's why Hodor says Hodor.
God, I cried so
Oh
much.
my god, that episode! Because there's the famous thing of the Mad King. The only thing he said at the end was "burn them all, burn them all."
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Bran somehow sent the message back to the Mad King and told him, "You need to burn them all." As in, but the White Walkers, and there's something either he does it deliberately or it goes wrong.
That's why
but
he
that's
saved
the-
all the dragon's breath or whatever
yeah,
it's called.
The dragon fire.
Ah.
I might be wrong, but it is a theory.
No,
If
that
I'm-
is damn
yeah.
good. That is
But
damn
then
good.
also, like, at that point, the White Walkers weren't back, so the Mad King wouldn't know. even if he was saying what Bran was on about. No
Yeah.
one knew the White Walkers
He just
was out.
saying burn them all, burn them
This
all.
is,
kind of-
let me go off on a slight tangent here about.
Do
So,
it.
Event Horizon. Fantastic film. Is that the tangent we're on
But
to?
no,
or-
this is one of the things that George Martin has said in his interviews
Yeah.
that is really interesting. It's like he doesn't read fan theories anymore because he says, some of them people work out what he's going to write,
Yeah.
and then he's got to make a decision whether he sticks with it or
Yeah.
changes
I mean, there's
it.
millions of people
Yeah.
analysing it to
And
find
like everyone worked
detail.
out Jon
Yeah.
Snow was Targaryen, and we all think like Tyrion is like the third Targaryen.
Well,
right?
that was one of the reasons. Like the reason why he gave the TV series to I can't remember who, Benny. I can't remember.
HBO.
No,
Right.
the executive producer of
Yeah,
whatever.
Vice
it is.
and
Yeah,
then
that was it. The reason he gave it to them was when he said to them, he said because the books were obviously the 3 books were out at that point, and he turned to them and said, "Who is Jon Snow's father?" And they answered correctly. And
The
he-
mum, yeah.
sorry, the
Yeah.
mum. And they were just like, right, okay. And he was right, okay. There you go. You figured it out. You can have the TV series. So yeah.
Yeah, and this is like one of the things he said is if people work out his theories, he's then got to decide is it anticlimactic and do I change it or do I stick with it? And also he said, which I thought was really interesting, it's like if he's reading fan theories and someone comes out with a better story than he's got, like if he's not planning on that thing that you said, the Mad King, and then he finds it and he thinks it's better, does he take your idea?
Well,
Like,
I mean, I guess weirdly he can now change the books, but the TV series is now set because they've obviously
Well,
gone
he told
past
them
the
that
books now.
well they
His
can
key plot
yeah,
plots they
well,
now know.
Yeah, well
But,
they
the TV series has gone so differently from the book. I mean,
Well-
Jason, you're the only one out of the two of us that has read all the books. I've only read the first 2.
Oh shit! Well, you know the ending then.
No, because they haven't finished the books yet. There's 2
Oh
more
no,
to
of
go.
course they
Two-
haven't.
two more to
yeah.
go, yeah.
I mean, but didn't the Mr. TV people went up to Mr. Martin and said, "Okay, so
I want to be called that. I want my 2 middle names now. It's Mr. M.T. Eaton.
Yeah.
I want my names now to be
So-
if anyone comes up to me.
Well, anyway, then so what I've heard is that they go up to him and they say, "Mr. Martin, let's be honest here. You're kind of old and you're not in the best shape.
he's
so if
not
you
in the
de-
best shape.
so
No.
if you decide to go and reside with the Morning Stars before." We actually know.
Shuffle off your
yes,
significant mortal coil.
if you decide to do a shuffle off to Buffalo, like across the meadows one morning, then maybe
It's funny because he's fat and old. Sorry, is that what you're getting at? I just wanted to check.
No, basically, what they went to him and said, "What's the ending? Because we need to know in case you die." Basically, it's because they wanted to know.
Isn't there a famous interview where someone genuinely asked him that in an interview, going like, "Have you got the ending in case you go?" And he got really angry. And
He
it's like,
says
"It's
to all
not
the
our fault.
fans,
You're
yeah.
fat and old. It's yours. Well, half of it is your fault. The other half is just time."
It's
But-
not our fault, you fucking-
There- There's an interview.
I'm
like-
sorry,
What a
and
way.
it's entirely
God.
his fault because he's not.
Uh.
Didn't he bring out a book recently that's nothing to do with Game of Thrones as well?
How to get fat
is-
and old.
Yeah, no, Fire and Blood is like a Targaryen history, and it's really
Who asked for that?
supposedly really interesting.
Okay, fair
It's
enough.
modelled on because Game of
He's the
Thrones
new
is like,
Tolkien, really, isn't he?
Exactly, yeah.
basically,
And like Game of Thrones is
Less
kind of
tree
modelled on.
description though. Fucking Tom Bombadil.
But he's even got RR as a middle name, like J.R.R.
J.R.R.
Tolkien, George R.R. Martin. I see what he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
But there's
We need to find out when Tolkien died and when George R. R. Martin
73.
started. Oh, okay.
1973.
Okay, George R. R. Martin was definitely not born. If he was born in 73, fuck me
No, he was,
sideways.
He was a big old Catholic as well, wasn't he, Tolkien?
He was
There's
such a
the
Catholic,
film
yeah.
coming out
He
with
even-
what's his name about Tolkien's life now, and they've made it
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
super dramatic, and it's totally not.
He
good.
he even convinced Lewis, C.S. Lewis, who wrote the Narnia Chronicles. He convinced him to be a Christian. I don't think he browbeat him into it, but he was basically like
'Cause I
put
remember-
forward some fairly logical arguments apparently, and was like, yes, so basically this is how
'Cause that's
Christianity is the right answer,
Yeah.
which then led on to C.S. Lewis doing the
The
Narnia
Narnia.
Chronicles, which are,
Yeah.
in his words, supposals.
Mm.
It's if Jesus was a lion.
They're more
basically.
overt parables.
But
aren't
wasn't
they?
Yeah,
because I know that
exactly.
C.S. Lewis wrote some like wonderful things about like sort of anti-religious, and then became a born-again Christian.
Yeah,
following that, didn't
basically,
he?
yeah,
So,
yeah, pretty much.
So, fantasy writers in general.
Apparently, the book that someone wrote about his wife.
Sorry, Tolkien's wife or
No,
George-
C.S.
or
Lewis.
We're still on
she's
C.S.
like,
Sorry.
we're still on C.S. Lewis,
Right, okay.
But apparently, this has. Why am I bringing this up?
No, it's
actually?
interesting,
Well,
go on.
well, apparently, there's a book. I don't think is she still alive? But there's a book about her becoming Mrs. Lewis, and it's sort of like her side of it. Apparently, it's a very good read.
Oh, okay.
So my mum says.
Wow,
This is
the most intelligent one we've ever done. Usually,
It
it's
really is.
This is. I wonder what Batman would wear as socks. and now we're moving on to. Well, I heard that C.S. Lewis writes. There's a book out recently.
It's like, what toilet paper do you think the Joker uses? It's like usually it's stuff like that, but no.
Oh,
This is
dear.
actually this is actually
Cushell,
pretty
it's
good.
definitely
Yeah,
Cushell.
we're educated. We're fine brandy drinking people here. We are from our
Sorry,
from our
are
wingback
we-
leather
sorry,
chairs.
Are we fine people drinking brandy, or are we people drinking fine brandy?
Probably
Take a pick.
neither.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me go on a rant here about George R. R. Martin. At the moment, he's written Fire and Blood, which is kind of like a history of the Targaryens in
Yeah.
the mould of some of the histories he read about the Wars of the Roses,
Which
which
is
is
what
kind
this
of
is based on.
So
yeah.
interestingly, Lannister and Stark based on Lancaster and York.
Ah,
Did not
okay.
see that.
I did
but
not realise that until
That's
someone
damn good.
told me, and I was
Okay.
like, "Fuck yeah!"
Is that Plantagenets and that kind of
Yes,
thing?
yeah. History of the Plantagenets
Mm.
is literally what he's basing History of Targaryens
Those
on,
weird
Fire and Blood.
bananas.
But he's written The World of Ice and Fire and this Fire and Blood thing and a new Duncan Egg story
Mm.
since he's been working on Winds of Winter.
Yeah.
And what I find really interesting, I read a theory online that I find quite interesting, is that obviously he's always saying, yeah, the book's going to come out next year, and he
Mm.
doesn't. In 2013 or something, like October, he was saying, I'm going to get it done by Christmas. He thought he could finish it in 2 months, 5-6 years ago, and he didn't. And the theory that I read online is he wouldn't get the prediction that wrong unless he'd finished most of the book.
Right.
Like if he'd only finished half the book and he knew it, he wouldn't say 2 months.
Mm.
So the theory is that he's written most of it, he's really fucking struggling with the ending and
Ah.
tying it all up. And I was like, yeah, because when he wrote the 5th book, he had the same problem. He was trying to get everyone into Marine,
Mm.
so like the dragons and
Mm.
boats and everything. So that's the theory that I read. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Well, the 5th
That
one
does.
is A Dance of Dragons, isn't it? But the book
Yeah.
that he apologised for in the actual thing itself was Feast of Crows, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Which is basically, he was like,
And the reason
I really
for
want
that-
to apologise for that this book is so randomly out there.
Let me come in as the colour commentator on here and
Mm.
explain why the Feast of Crows is like that. So he wrote Game of Thrones 96, Clash of Kings,
Clash of Kings.
98,
Yeah.
Storm of Swords 2000,
2000, okay.
and then Feast of Crows came out 2005.
Mhm.
And what happened was originally he was going to skip forward in the story 5 years and have all the Stark, so the Stark children could grow up. So Arya could be 16, Jon Snow could be 20.
Mm.
He was going to skip forward 5 years. And
Wait. How old is Jon Snow in the books?
in the books, he's like 16 at the moment.
Really?
16 to 18.
Because I know
yeah.
that Daenerys is supposed to be much younger, but for obvious reasons
Yeah.
they had to age
She's
her up
13 in Game of
That's
Thrones.
yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Which fair enough during a medieval thing, she is a woman in bloom, but that's you can't get away with that in a fucking
Yeah.
TV series.
And she's like 16 in the series, supposedly. But
Yeah.
in real life, she's like 21.
Yeah, exactly. But you can kind of get away with that in there. But I didn't realise that Jon was so young.
Oh yeah, and so he was
So
gonna
short.
he was gonna leave like this.
Well, he knows nothing.
He does know nothing. He was going to leave this like.
It's the one time you
5-year
haven't
gap.
said it in your accent as well.
Yeah, it is the one time I heard Jon
So
Snow.
short.
So short.
Yeah, he was going to leave a 5-year gap so that the Stark children could age and the dragons could grow to a big
Mm.
size.
Okay.
And he was going to do like a 20-page prologue to A Feast of Crows saying, "In the meantime, this is what's happened."
Meanwhile, in the
Yeah, exactly, literally that. And the problem was that being George R. R. Martin, that 20-page prologue became 200 pages, and he was like, "Okay, fuck it, I'm not going to do the prologue. I'm just going to write the book." And so at this point, the third book having come out in the year 2000, it's now 2003, and he's only written half the book, and he hasn't written anything on Jon Snow, anything on Tyrion, anything on Daenerys. He's like, I could either make everyone wait for like 7 years to bring out this book, or I could just release what I've written as like book 4 part 1 and book 5 is book 4 part 2. And so he released them as happening in the same time but from different people's points of view. And that's why it's so fucking weird and shit. Like, it's interesting, but Yeah.
On the subject of difference between the book and the series, so in the one, pretty much there's one difference between the first book and the first series, which is that they don't introduce the Blackfish. It's pretty much word for word throughout the entire season.
So
But now, obviously, in the last season of Game of Thrones, you had Riverrun being ransacked by Jaime's army. Was that the last? Or was that the season before? No, I think that was the last season. Yeah.
Season 6 or 7.
Okay. So now, the last time we've had 3 off-screen deaths of main people, and that was you.
Really?
I was trying to move past.
Sorry. Yeah, so was Jason. He was trying to move something past. Anyway, go on.
Really hoping the microphone doesn't pick up farts. Now, so you've had 3 off-screen deaths of major characters, which was the Hound, which turned out to not be a death.
Yeah.
Maybe we should say here, this is spoilers for all of Game of
Oh, yeah, of
Thrones,
course
by
it
the way.
fucking is.
Why are you listening to this if you haven't watched any of
Of
it?
course it's spoilers.
Anyway, sorry,
Yeah.
Karen. Yeah, you got to say this stuff or people get annoyed.
Okay, fine. We'll edit it into the start, and I'll just be me going spoilers.
Yeah.
Season 7. No, season 8. Oh, we can't spoil season 8. Anyway, so you've had 3 off-screen deaths. One of them was the Hound, which turned out not to be a death, and I fucking
Yes.
called that from the start.
You did call
because,
it.
because it was the first time you
If no-
didn't
if-
see.
If
it's
no
not
one
someone's
dies on
head being
screen,
crunched in.
if someone doesn't
Like-
die on screen, then they haven't died.
Exactly.
But do you see
Yeah. Now-
Ned Stark die?
Yes, you
Yeah.
saw the head get chopped off.
Do you actually see the head go off?
Well,
or do you just
well,
see the sword?
Okay,
come
well,
out?
you did see the head on a spike. So I'm going to
Yeah,
take
that is.
I'm going to take a
This-
shot in the dark.
The right
and say-
honourable gentleman raises a good point.
So the Hound gets killed. He's the first off-screen
Yes.
death, and he didn't die. And I called that because it wasn't a head-crunching, head-on spike, whatever.
Something else with a head.
Something else, you know,
But
going
if you
wrong.
read the 4th book,
This-
it's kind of obvious that he's not dead.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah, because he appears somewhere else, and it's like he's a big guy, and he really likes dogs, and you know. that's
Yeah,
what
but
he wants.
but Catelyn Stark is also not dead as well. So
Well, we'll
it's-
get onto that.
Yeah, we'll get on to zombie wife of Ned Stark later, but didn't appear in the TV series. The second one to happen was Stannis. Stannis
That's an
was
interesting
apparently beheaded by Brienne of Tarth, who would have beheaded him as well because she fucking hated him after
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
killed with the shadow demon thing as well.
Yes.
But weirdly did not show him get beheaded, which I
I
don't know
am
why they
convinced he
chose
is
to do
dead.
that.
I think
I'm
he is.
convinced
I
he
think
is
he
dead.
is dead.
I'm
Yeah.
And
sure
the
he's dead.
third one I've now forgotten. So what? I was spending so much time. There's a third. No, that was it. The Blackfish. I've gotten a full circle back to it. You did not. Not only did you, but the thing is, when Stannis Baratheon died, you literally got just before he got his head chopped off.
Yeah.
So fine. But you did not. You didn't even get to see how the Blackfish died. So I don't think he's dead either.
I remember us
I-
talking about this when it happened, actually. Yeah, because we were like, it's not an on-screen death.
Because
so...
the whole thing was that Brienne and Brienne and Podrick, wasn't it?
Yes.
Who got away on the boat, and then what's the thing? The Blackfish decides not to take his army and go to support Sansa at Winterfell, and he's really like, no, I'm not going, and blah 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 blah. But you not only do not see him die, you don't even know how he died. So I'm sorry, I don't know if he got because
I
he
think
would have
they
fought to
hear,
the end.
like,
He'd have got bound
swords
and gagged and
clashing
taken
and-
away.
What's
or-
his name again? You don't see the on-screen death of Uncle Ben, as well, and he
Benjen,
comes back.
yeah.
Benjen, and he turns
Well,
up later as something
was he
else.
already dead?
No, because he
Isn't
in
he
season 1
reanimated?
he goes all the way beyond the wall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we
They
don't
see-
see him until like season 5.
Yeah,
or
he's
something.
he's getting turned into a White Walker or something, and they
Yeah.
stab him with obsidian, and
Yeah.
it stops him turning into one.
What's the underworld thing?
Abomination.
He's an abomination.
Two things. Number one, in the books, Benjen, you don't know he's Benjen yet, but he's called Cold Hands because his hands are cold because he's kind of dead or half dead. But in season...
That is a dumb name.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but
in season...
I've got cold hands.
Well,
What?
but it's the end of season 7, isn't it? He turns up and he
Yeah.
actually gets killed. Right,
Yeah.
so let's just get this straight. So firstly, we've got Podrick running all the way back to the wall, getting a raid... Like, this is when they're all stuck on the middle.
Podrick?
Yeah,
Sam.
whoever it is. They're stuck on that island, aren't they? Surrounded by the dead. They've gone north of the wall to capture a...
White
yeah,
Walker.
Oh, we're there.
Yeah.
With it. So, sorry. I'm
Just,
with you, I know what you're about, yeah.
just quickly on this point, how did everyone feel about, because, like, with the so much of the last season, like the travel was super quick, and you had loads of fans online like demonstrating with maps. It took them like 3 episodes last time, and they got there in like half an episode this time.
Yeah.
I mean, does that? personally,
It
that
has a
really
pacing issue.
that really didn't bother me though, because for me, I was like, we've been building up for this
Yeah.
stuff for
Yeah.
so long.
Shit got done.
I just want to see it. I mean,
Yeah.
did it bother either of you? I mean, Jason, like being more into actually, sort of the
I mean,
world
I'm
and
not-
knowing it more.
Because they have done the maths, haven't they, on how
They've
far
done a
Jamie
map
has
as
to,
well,
They've
like-
done
Yeah.
exactly on how far they had to
God,
travel.
there are
Jon
some
Snow
big
goes
old
to
nerds
Dragonstone
out there.
Yeah.
and back, which is 800 miles, about 4 times in the time. But it's a dead army. You've seen how slow they walk.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like an old man crossing the road.
But
You know what I'm saying?
I know they've done a lot of things on how Jamie would have managed to get from King's Landing to Highgarden, and it is really interesting how we look. You think about the sack of, because you have Casterly Rock and Highgarden take both castles being taken in one episode, and in previous Game of Thrones series that would have taken 6 seasons to get done.
Yeah,
There
definitely.
is a pacing issue in the latest
I
season.
think-
they
I
have
think-
got
I
But
think
at
that
least
they've just-
shit's getting done because we've got a lot to deal with now.
I think that they've just realised that there's been so much build up, and finally it's a lot of action. That's actually, talking of Jamie, that's something that I did want to bring to the table, quite literally. We're sat at a table for everyone who can't see.
With alcohol.
All right. Anyway, moving right along, Jamie. So he has now left Cersei, and he's gone off. Like, what do we actually think is going to happen with Jamie and with those two? Because it's so. Do we think that him and Bree, maybe?
Brienne. She's not a cheese, Tom.
Well, Bree is a name
Yeah,
as well.
Really? No, true, yeah.
Though
It's a
that-
good cheese.
I'm sorry if it's been a while since I watched the series, and therefore these names. I mean, I can't even
Name
imagine.
Bree.
I can't even imagine what it's like reading the books. Like a friend of mine, she was saying that.
Because you're dyslexic.
But all right, mate. Yeah, that's one thing. That's one thing. That's one.
Alien
All right.
aliens.
All right, mate. All right. But like, so a friend of mine who read the books, she was saying it's actually much better watching the TV episode, because some of these names you try and remember them, and then like you're trying to put who is that again, and what. Whereas with the TV show, at least you put a face to the name.
Yeah.
I mean, did you find that reading?
I
it at
really
all?
found that, because in the first book, like, you were introduced to, I think, the Hound and Ilan Payne, the executioner who can't speak, and someone else, all at the same time. And you're
Wait a
like,
minute. Ilan Payne is the name of the executioner.
Yeah.
Oh, that's. Sorry, there's a band I know called that, and I was always like, oh, that's such a good name. And that must be where they got it from.
Now, interesting story about the guy that plays Ilan Payne is actually a musician. I don't know what his
Really?
actor's called. Yeah, he's a musician.
Wheels within wheels.
And he taught the guy.
Was
who
it Ed
plays-
Sheeran again? Because I'd be
It
really
wasn't Ed
pissed
Sheeran.
No,
off if it was.
that fucked me off so
Let's get on to
much.
that.
No,
Let's
no,
get on
Right,
to that.
no, let's just
It
cut
was
straight to that.
They had
actually.
Ed Sheeran not in a cameo but in a full speaking role, followed by a reference to Top Knots. I'm sorry, I was totally out of
The thing that pissed me off the most about that scene is that even when he's not talking, he's still in the shot. You get his big dumb face from a side
Yeah.
profile, just like it's like I do not buy him as a soldier, as
Yeah.
a Lancaster soldier. Really? Do you think he picked that role? It's like I'd like
Lancaster soldier.
Lancaster. No, sorry.
Lannister, it's the same
Lannister.
thing, Dave.
It's from- no,
It's just a further back
We're on
to
about
the
the
show.
pun-
yeah,
Plantagenets again.
it's from what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
But no, I mean seriously, who buys him as a Lannister soldier?
This is
I
the
mean,
problem,
really?
like, the guy that plays Hodor complained about this, and he had exactly that point. He was like,
Yeah.
you're in this, like, in season 3, the Red Wedding, some of the musicians at the top who end up with crossbow shooting people, an
Yeah.
actual
Yeah.
band, I can't remember who.
Okay,
But they're a famous band that wanted to cameo in it, and it's like, okay,
Metallica.
but you can't see that it's them, like, unless you're looking and you know. It's like, but you're in
It's
this
a
world.
wink. It's a wink to
Yes.
the audience.
Yeah.
While Ed Sheeran being in
It's
it
a fucking
was like
headbutt.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It wasn't so much.
that's
It wasn't so much a wink. It was like I was enveloped in a giant eye and then flattened by a bunch of eyelids. I
It's
was
more-
like, I'm not happy with this.
I did find it grossly offensive. I mean,
Yeah.
I really don't like.
And I
shit.
yeah. I love how you would have been less insulted if they'd got like a CGI Michael Jackson to play the role. They sort of proper
like
Governor
a-
Tarkin
oh,
him into the shot.
But I mean, that I wouldn't have. He did. You know what? Michael Jackson would have been great, and he would have been a great like Army of the Dead, just in the background. Can you
God,
imagine that?
no,
How
no,
good
no,
would
no,
that
no.
if they'd have done that?
It's like
they could have why do they have like dead celebrities in the army
Oh
of
my
the dead?
God.
Just like
Michael Jackson,
Really?
Carrie
If you-
Fisher,
if-
just all these
If you
people
do a
like
freeze
that.
frame and you just notice these rotting corpses of dead celebrities just scattered. I'm sorry, I think that is far better than Ed Sheeran as a fucking soldier.
This gets so dark. I mean, how dark can we be on this podcast?
Just go for it.
Let's
Just
go
go for it.
So
Just
season
go.
5, they're in Hardhome,
Yeah.
and that like Danish woman that Jon Snow befriends gets attacked by a load of children. They'd all be around Michael Jackson, wouldn't they?
Oh,
God.
Pedo Corpse Jackson.
Okay.
We've
okay.
opened the
We're
rabbit
gonna-
hole.
Right, yeah. Well, we're gonna draw a line to that now.
I mean-
Now let's just go back to Jamie.
Yeah.
Right.
For a bit,
So,
so
what were we going on?
yes. So
Jamie Savile zombies. Now.
What do you think of Jamie and Brienne? Right. Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
So what? So what do we think to that, or do we think he's going to go back to Cersei? Do we think he's going to die?
Right.
I hope not, because I find Jamie's evolution. From
His arc is fantastic.
Yes,
he is the
yeah.
first bad guy. He is literally the pushes a child out of the window.
You hate him so much.
The things I do
But
for
all
love
is-
out the window.
Yeah, but all is fair
and
in
then
love
it's
and war.
Oh dear, but it's very much like you kind of like you're the bad guy, and then suddenly you're in a tub with Brienne of Tarth, and we're like
With one hand.
with one hand, and it's just like why he killed his king effectively, and why Ned Stark would never have agreed with him, and you're like, fuck, I'm suddenly on your side.
Yeah,
so
it's
good,
ridiculous.
Like that bit where he's
Yeah.
talking
And
to,
that is good script.
Very good.
Yeah, and when he's
Moral
talking
ambiguity.
To, what's Ned Stark's wife? Catelyn. He's talking to
Catelyn,
Catelyn in
yeah.
season 2, and he's like, "You all call him the Mad King, and yet you all slag me off for killing him." It's like, you know,
Yeah,
he's
Yeah.
evil,
absolutely.
Yeah.
and yet you shit on me for like betraying him.
Yeah.
It's such good.
It is. It's
Yeah.
it's fantastic, but that is also such a fantastic portrayal of people.
Yeah.
You only have to watch the news to see that happening daily, and I think that's one of the reasons why as well. Like, it's just good writing on this show and why it is kind of so compelling. I remember when season 1 came out, and it was Ben that introduced me to it. And he was saying, "Oh, you've got to watch this. You've got to watch this." And I was like, "Okay, well, you sold me anyway." On thing, he was like, "Yeah, it's just blood and tits. You'll love it." And I was just like,
it's not,
"That's
nothing about
okay.
plot
it's
or
really,
intrigue
yeah,
or-
you know." But I mean, how typical of that chap that he watched the whole of season 1
And what he
then
came away from
removed-
was tits and blood.
But a lot of people said that, and for
Yeah.
me, that was not the selling point. It was
No,
very much.
It was. It
I
was.
think
It
if
was
I've got access to the
scheming.
internet-
Yeah.
And I want to see tits. There's
And
other
blood.
things I can do. Than
If
watch
I want
Game
to
of
see
Thrones.
tits, there are other websites, other things to watch. You know.
Brazzers.
And this is a perfect slide into our second sponsor.
Brazzers.com. Who are all about sliding in.
No. It's
Today's
no.
sponsors Now TV and Brasser.
No, it's not Brasa. It's 89 movies. Totally.
Oh, that is like.
I'm
That's a
sorry.
2005 reference. We want
Yes.
legal.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Looking at
Wow.
Anyone that's old enough to remember when they first started watching porn, their first thing they went on to was
Oh.
89 movies.
And it was stay away from the right hand
Wow.
column because there were three
If
columns
anyone-
of
if
straight
anyone-
Oh my god, there were
one
3
column
columns
gay
of
porn,
straight,
and
and
it's
then there
like-
was 1 column of gay porn. And it
All
was
right.
just
Okay.
like-
Can we
it
just?
was-
No, let's get
No,
back on
no,
that for,
come on,
let's
we're
get,
down the rabbit
Oh,
hole.
Let's get back
okay.
on that for one
I'm
second.
sorry,
because
there was that famous 5th column, which was the Twincest column. So,
No.
Game of Thrones. Now,
Oh,
I brought it
we
back.
brought it back.
so
He's
Ja-
brought it
Jamie
back.
Lannister.
Jamie, yeah, I think Jamie's a guy that I don't want to die. Like, there's certain
No,
characters
yeah.
that I can see
Yeah.
if they die,
Yeah.
it's going to work.
I
Like,
mean, the favourites are clearly Jamie, Tyrion, and Samwell Tarly. Those
Yeah.
those are the 3 that you
what do
want
you
to be
think of
able.
this? Have you heard this theory about Sam being George R.R. Martin? Have you heard about this?
What? Because he's fat and not old.
No, no. Well, yeah, partially
He'll
because
get
he's fat.
old
Well, just because he's
Eventually,
fat and he's a writer.
Partially because he's fat, actually. Yeah, there's a bit in the books where Sam's character is thinking to himself, and he's like, he's a coward, and he's so fat, and George R. R. Martin is obviously quite large. And that's the theory.
and
But,
married to a northern wench.
but have you heard
I
this
assume.
theory about like the Sam and the whole thing?
No.
No,
Okay,
Go.
So the theory is George R. R. Martin is obsessed with J.R.R. Tolkien, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And in J.R.R. Tolkien's book, Lord of the Rings is a book that Sam Tarly has written about what happens called the Red Book of Westmarch, based on an actual Welsh book that had a red leather cover in the 1500s. So Lord of the Rings is obviously J.R.R. Tolkien talking, telling his story and pretending it's a real book he's found with a red leather cover written by Sam Tarly, and that J.R.R. Tolkien has translated it. And the theory is that Game of Thrones is a book written by Samuel Tarly. It's a book written by a guy called Sam, like Lord of the Rings is, and George R. R. Martin has translated it, like J.R.R. Tolkien.
Hang on,
translated.
no, because Sam didn't. Hang on, because Sam didn't in Lord of the Rings didn't write the books.
Well, no, I mean in the story in Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
in like the.
This is in the actual books as
Sam-
well. It's
Yeah,
not.
this is
It's
like-
not really done so much in the film.
Yeah, no, Sam, because Sam has to finish the book, doesn't he?
Yeah.
In Lord of the Rings, it's that
Yeah.
it starts with Bilbo, then Frodo writes his. Frodo, I was thinking, bloody going back to Disney villains now. Then it's Frodo, and then Sam finishes it off.
Yes,
doesn't
yeah.
he?
Sam finishes
because
it.
he's because obviously goes away to the Grey Havens, and then Sam comes home, and then there's marries Eleanor, and no, his daughter is Eleanor, and then he marries Rosie.
Rosie, yeah.
Rosie,
That's
yeah.
very
He-
Game of Thrones
he-
if he marries
Yeah,
Eleanor.
yeah.
He finishes the Red Book of Westmarch, and J.R.R. Tolkien, in his mind, in his like fictional
Right.
version of events, translates this book that he's found.
Right.
Because J.R.R. Tolkien was a historian, and this is what
Yeah.
always
Yeah,
happened
yeah,
in
yeah.
like 1600s Welsh history. It was like, oh, I found this book in the cathedral archives.
I
It's
would be
like,
very-
no, you didn't.
Yeah,
We're
and
not
I'm going to
taking
do
it
a
away.
very questionable translation
Yeah.
of it.
It's like just a Welshman.
Just by, and
exaggerate.
I'm just going to crowbar in a subplot and some sub-characters.
This is not a Shakespeare play.
No, it's not.
Found
Sorry.
this book in the archives, didn't I? So he
Well,
found
I don't know. I was just waiting for my cheese toasty to be done.
firefighting is very dangerous.
Tom, it's called Welsh rarebit, not a cheese toasty.
I like it's a Welsh rare bit. Yeah, fair.
But yeah, so
Wow.
so the story is that Samuel Tarly is based on Samwise Gamgee,
Right.
and George
Which is
R. R.
based
Martin,
on George R. R. Martin.
George R. R. Martin is emulating J.R.R. Tolkien in saying, "Oh, I found this book that was made by a guy called Sam," and
Wow.
that's
Jesus
the
Christ.
theory. And I think that makes sense because he's obsessed with J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah.
There's a big character called Sam Well instead of Sam Wise who likes writing and history and stuff. I can see it.
Yeah,
I think that
well,
ruins
you've-
it,
I mean,
like-
I mean, you've. I don't, no, not at all. You've convinced me. It's more the hearing all of this makes me, down goes the head, up come the hands, and it's just a bit of a wow. This goes far deeper than I'd even thought. But again, that's what gives this stuff legs. I mean, you only have to look at, God, how many Star Wars theories holes
Oh,
do we
Jesus
go down?
Christ.
I mean, it's bloody. But that's what makes something.
That's another podcast for another time.
Yes, and another bottle of brandy. But yeah, this. So anyway, Jamie. This was another
God,
question
we're
that I
still
was
on
going
Jamie.
How did we get off that?
Back to Jamie.
We're moving on now. I mean, we spoke about Jamie. He's a good character. We don't want him to die.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll go back to Cersei now. I think he is going to die because
Really?
cause I think he's come sort of full circle now where he's actually left her.
It's going to be crushed by Brienne of Town.
Well, no, I think because but that's just. I mean, maybe it is predictable that he dies, but that for me is just sort of standard character arc that starts off as bad guy, then you have the reveal from his point of view. He loses a lot, but then he sort of gets it back. But then it kind of realizes the error of his ways or the error of the one that he loves. Like this is wrong. Leaves. So I think this is sort of the redemption. He's going to redeem the stuff he's done
Well, there's
within death.
Because there's that entire thing of that whole speech he has with oh god, what's her name? The Queen of Thorns.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Marjorie Tyrell.
No, Marjorie's the daughter.
Oh, who is-
Olenna. That entire conversation he has with Olenna, where she's like, "She will be the death of you," and that wonderful speech she gives at the end of season 7. I was so disappointed when she got killed off because she was the best character. in
Oh,
it.
It was great though that
Yeah.
she tricked him into the mercy sort of kill and then just reveal.
Oh my god, that was
That
so
was so
satisfying. Oh my god,
good.
yeah.
What do you think about the theory that Jamie is going to kill Cersei based on where he's standing on that map when he's talking to her?
Well,
He was standing on the fingers. What's the theory, Dave? You know,
because wasn't there because you had the
I do not know this theory, so
No.
please like.
So when wasn't it that Cersei went to go see a witch who told her that all of her children would die, but she was I don't know if
was
it
it
was the
that
same
3
time.
of her children would die?
I
That she would
I-
have 3 children, they would die, and that's why she thinks that this one that she's sprouted or that
Yeah.
I can't
she's telling
remember.
that's why
but-
she's so confident about it.
Yeah, it was
okay.
like
I mean, I could-
you'll
I-
have, yeah.
Yeah.
I could be wrong,
I
but
can't remember if
it
it's
said
three.
that-
It's definitely that like all of her children,
Yeah.
or 3 of her
I
children.
think
I
it's
know.
like I think it's numbers because she says you'll have 3 children, but the king will have 17 because he like whores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like
The
Golden
black
will be
hair.
their hair,
Yeah.
Golden will be
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
cast.
But that's why she's so confident
but-
about this one
but-
because yeah.
But
Anyway.
wasn't there also another prophecy that she would be killed by her brother?
She would be killed by the Voluncar, which is like
Is that sort of
Why the
cli-
fuck do I know? It's like
No, it's
No,
like-
no,
it's
go
like-
on, go
it's
on, go
yeah,
on,
Yeah,
go
no,
on.
I'm just
Voluncar,
interested in
which
the
is-
the Klingon. What?
yeah, which is Valyrian for I think its little brother. Now
Okay.
she was born slightly before Jamie,
So therefore
it
she
could
has
be
2
Jamie,
younger brothers.
it could be Tyrion, and then someone's pointed out in Valyrian when they talk about dragons, they don't have to be male or female. So basically, Valyrian it doesn't distinguish gender. So little brother could be little sister. So some people think it's Arya that's going to kill her. So she's going to be killed by someone that's younger than her, that's male or female. Good luck.
Why would Arya be that though?
Because
she's
she's
not-
a little sister of Jon Snow. She's the youngest sibling of like. So everyone assumes
So
it's
just
Tyrion.
general sister.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So but wait a minute. We're getting back to this theory. So the theory that Jamie's going to kill her.
yeah.
Yeah, based on the neck and the fingers, isn't it? Because when she's standing, when they're talking in season 7, they're standing on a map of Westeros.
Yeah.
And Jamie's standing on something called the Fingers, which is where Littlefinger's from,
Mhm.
and Cersei's standing on a bit of the map called the Neck, and they figure he's going to strangle her with his golden hand fingers around her neck.
Wow.
That was the
that's a
theory,
lot.
but I think someone looked into it, and he's not actually standing on the bit that he's.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean-
because I know that because talking about the map, because it's literally on my wall right there. So
Does it not look like a witch?
Oh yeah,
It does. It does.
It's
Totally.
totally.
It's
It's a witch's
got-
head, and
There's three.
and then
There's
like,
three.
there's three faces there.
There is.
Yeah.
The
There is.
witch.
There's the witch, the orc looking at the other
The
orc.
orc looking at the app. Now, but the place we've not been to, which is referenced to, is the swamp area, isn't it? Isn't there an area of Westeros which is like a swamp land, and the main castle?
We did a really
that's
good job
built-
choosing this topic. The map's on the wall.
I know,
we got
I know.
Jason in,
Yeah,
who's got the full
with
knowledge of the
book
books.
knowledge.
We nailed this podcast.
And
This is what
Samuel
happens when we've
R.
done
Tolkien.
research. It rolls and we get dark, and then we have to edit loads of it out.
But there's because we've been to the Eyrie, we've been to Dawn, we've been to all these different places. But the one
But do
place
we need a-
which is in the books, which actually haven't been to in the series properly on Westeros, is the swamp area.
But then this poses another question: do we need to go there because they are doing? I mean, do we need to go there in this TV series because they are doing
or do we do it in
spin-off?
the spin-off?
Because the spin-offs that with other characters and some of them prequels as well.
Mm.
So there's lots going on here. But getting back to this theory, I don't know. I don't think there's anything in it. I like the idea of him killing her,
Yeah.
but also I like the idea of him sacrificing himself in some way, or him dying in battle against someone. What do we think is going to happen? Actually, quickly, that's another one. What do we think is going to happen between the Mountain and the Hound?
Well, this is a weird thing because we're never properly told how Qyburn has his reanimation technology or whatever he's doing.
He's going to die. He's going to die
You
really
think,
badly.
what you think Qyburn's going to die?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
the Mountain's going to die as well.
Oh yeah,
Well,
the
he's
man.
already dead,
Well, the man.
isn't he,
Well, yeah. I think the what's his name? The Frankenstein is going to, and by that I mean the Doctor. Common misconception that people think that Frankenstein is the monster. Idiots.
Frankenstein monster.
No,
George.
no. Frankenstein is the Doctor. So the Frankenstein in this, I think he's gonna come to a nasty end in this somehow. I mean, everyone comes to a nasty end in Game of Thrones,
Yeah,
one way or
no,
another.
yeah.
It's that kind of universe, so you could actually put money on it.
There's an interesting point. Who had the easiest death in Game of Thrones?
Probably Ned Stark.
I mean, it's quick.
It's
Or
very
Lena,
quick.
maybe like.
Or Lena,
put
actually,
boys in.
and what's her name? Marcella, the Lannister daughter.
Yeah,
she
yeah,
was
but
she was
boys
fairly
in,
easily. God, that was heartbreaking. The fact that she.
What, the poison?
Yeah, but the fact that she knew as well, I was like,
She
that
knew
was,
what?
No, so the whole thing was that the the Lannister daughter of Jaime and Cersei, she had that whole speech on the boat with Jaime saying she knew that Jaime was her father
Oh,
and
God.
accepted it, and then
Oh,
she
yeah.
died.
Onions,
Like,
onions.
oh, that was
Yeah.
fucking heart wrenching.
Yeah, that was.
I have to say though, my least favourite and or not unnecessary, but the thing that the death that hit me hardest, and it wasn't. Oh god, I remember. I think you and me watched the freaking head crush of the.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
We were just like, I love the fact that in the credits they didn't play music after that finished. They just left it silent.
Well, they did the same with the Red Wedding, didn't
But
they?
it was because they knew that everyone in the audience was just going to be there going,
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming, yeah.
oh god! But I have to say the death that hit me hardest out of everything was Stannis' daughter.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really.
I mean,
hit me.
I mean,
She was-
actually,
it was a
I
proper
think-
innocence kind of.
I
and
think-
be burnt. As
Yeah,
well.
I mean,
was
I
like,
think
fucking
that
hell.
was at the point where you'd almost been on his side a little bit before that. You've been a bit like, well, by rights, you are
Yep.
the king.
Yeah, he's,
you know,
he's stern and
you
stoic,
know,
but he shouldn't.
yeah,
he has
and,
the most right.
But to actually burn your daughter who has done nothing wrong, and I think she's the only person throughout the series who is actually before like a main character who is actually pleading to not be killed. I don't think another character actually does that. So yeah, that was not good.
And people are wondering like how dark that was, but that was one of the episodes because George R. R. Martin writes one episode per season up until about. So that episode was written by him.
Really?
So it's not
Of
like
course
that's
it
not gonna-
was.
Yeah.
Of course it was.
That might not happen in
Yeah.
the book, but it's his idea of what's gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's going
And
to be
that's-
occurring.
That's so dark. Like what the hell?
And speaking of dark and deaths, that sort of brings me to my sort of final kind of throw out thing for us to talk about. Who do we think is going to die between Jon Snow and Daenerys?
Daenerys.
You reckon?
I think her dragons. I don't want it, but I think the dragons are going to die, and I think she's going to die, and I think Jon Snow will be the one that will be at
Sit
end
on
of
the
this.
throne.
I mean, it's a bit obvious, but we're never going to get a satisfying. It's like, who is Snoke? It's never going to be satisfying because there's so many fucking fan theories. So fuck it, let's just kill him off and not say anything.
Yeah, but that's another podcast for another time, which we will get Jason back for.
Yeah.
Because we all have a lot of opinions
Oof.
about that. But anyway, who do you think, Jason?
To be honest, I didn't think either of them would die.
Really?
There's a weird flash forward in the second book, I think, where Daenerys is in the House of the Undying. You know, she sees Khal Drogo with their baby. That obviously she miscarried, and there's all these kind of flash forwards and stuff. And there's a bit in there, I think, where she sees a sad guy looking at a boat departing. And for some reason, I assume that that's Jon Snow watching Daenerys sail off. And I don't know if I'm
to
reading.
where?
I don't
It's
know.
funny that I see him as Aquaman now. I don't see him as Khal Drogo
Yeah.
anymore. I'm like, oh, flash forward to the DCEU. Like, yeah. Anyway,
It's all a
that's
shared
another.
universe.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Yes. Anyway, sorry.
Well, I remember you were talking to me a while ago about the idea of. I forgot what I was going to say.
Not a shared universe between Game of Thrones and DC.
Because you were saying that is Daenerys going to get pregnant now that she and Jon have
Well,
bumped
yeah,
upwards?
I mean, that.
Can she have a baby?
Well,
I thought
that-
the whole point is that
well-
she can't, or that it's going to be some weird
Well, yeah, but
malformed dragon thing
but
that we
that-
didn't even get to see.
yeah,
in
but
season
that's
2.
but that's
is
why
not-
I think so something will change. Even though she's sort of been cursed, and so the dragons are her children. But that's why with you saying that all. I mean, I'm basing this purely on opinion. I have no facts on it. But it
That's
just.
what we've got Jason for.
Well, exactly.
Is that podcast work? You just say
Exactly.
what you think. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that if all of her other children die, I mean the dragons, and then through her and Jon Snow hooking up, she becomes pregnant, and maybe she dies in childbirth. But I would put my money on Jon Snow dying rather than her. Or that they both die. She dies in childbirth, and it's their child that sits on the throne.
Oh, they've all already. The whole thing is like they're going to be born out of what is it, fire and salt and smoke. They've all kind of already died in a way, haven't they? She was born on Dragonstone, where there's like a
Yeah.
volcano. She's born on an island surrounded by salt water with smoke. Jon Snow was born.
A bastard.
There's so many different
No,
things
no, he's
about
not.
Jon Snow.
No,
like-
he's not a bastard.
No, he's not. But I
No.
do love that introduction where it's
Yeah.
like the breaker of chains, the mother of dragons. And you just
This is
Jon
Jon
Snow.
Snow.
He's a bloody bastard.
No, that wasn't it. No,
Yeah, I
He's
know,
Jon
but that's-
Snow. He's king of the north.
North, and he's a bloody bastard. So that's basically it.
But there's so many weird theories about Jon Snow because in the book he at the end of book 5, which is the end of series 5, he gets stabbed by a Night Watch.
Which
and
is,
it's like,
I love the fact that when in the TV series he gets stabbed to death and Facebook exploded. And there was there was a wonderful thing about how every single person that have read the books have gone, just so that you guys know, we've known this would happen for like a year.
I'm
and
sorry.
haven't said a word.
the bullshit theories about Salt and Smoke, like so Daenerys is born out of Salt and Smoke then, but then also she gets burned alive and comes alive from the fire.
Yeah. She's reborn as
Salt
the Queen
and
of
Smoke,
Dragons,
which is burning. Jon Snow, he gets born underneath the whole theory is underneath a bleeding star. So there's a comet over over Dragonstone when Daenerys gets born. There's a comet when she gets burned under the fire.
Yeah.
Jon Snow, there's a red star because it's going to take a while. So
Okay,
so-
we'll wrap it up because we ain't
Wrap
got
it
that much
up.
time
Yeah,
left.
We've got
So-
7 minutes left.
So Arthur Dane has got the Sword of the Morning, Dawn, which is made out of a meteorite and metal that's come from that. It's a falling star, and he puts it on the end of the bed in season 6. Well, Ned Stark does because he's killed Arthur Dane. Puts it on the end of the bed while Jon Snow's being born. He's also reborn, just like Daenerys was reborn, under a falling star because there's a guy whose sigil. How do I know? There's a guy whose sigil is like a load of stars, and he's been killed by a giant while Jon's getting stabbed by someone, and George R. R.
This is
Martin.
fascinating. Seriously, I'm listening
Yeah,
like a
it's-
child, dumbstruck. Carry on, please.
And George R. R.
please.
Martin specifically says while Jon's getting stabbed that the people doing it are crying, and he uses the term like they're salty tears. So it's like, oh, Salt and Smoke. So they've both been born and reborn in Salt and Smoke. Tyrion, we don't know yet. We assume he's a Targaryen because the Mad King took liberties during the bedding ceremony.
But it was also like George R. R. Martin works in threes, which is what was really surprising when one of the dragons got killed off, because you were thinking that the third dragon would be for Tyrion, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's going to be for the Night King,
Yeah.
presumably. And then there's also a theory of...
who is Tyrion, but from the future? Is that a theory? Can I start that?
Why not? There's so many theories. Let's
Don't.
just start it.
Don't.
No, I'm sorry. If Bran can be the Night King, then
Yeah,
why
but
can't
that makes
Tyrion
more
be the Night
sense. I haven't actually seen or heard any of the theories. I've looked at the thumbnail, which slowly turns his face into the Night King, and I've looked
It's a
at
big
that.
nose, isn't
and I-
it?
Yeah, and I've literally looked at that and gone, fair, and not even watched the
I
video.
do have to say, as character development goes, Bran's is the worst. Because he goes from being a kid who's really, quite an interesting kid, and like sets off the whole, gets pushed off,
Loves to climb.
and then loves to climb, and then suddenly he's in a wheelchair and his voice breaks and he's being carried around, and then it's all of a sudden, you look very beautiful on your wedding night, and it's just, oh, for fuck's sake.
And he's at the University of Birmingham, doing maths right now. The amount of people buying him drinks, getting him drunk, being like, what happens at the end of Game of Thrones must be phenomenal. I would be doing that. I'd be like, have a vodka Red Bull for £1.50.
That-
What happens at the end?
That
Isaac.
is insane. That he is your alma mater.
Yeah.
Getting drinks bought for him. But I mean, even at that stage of your career, he could have gone on to do anything,
Yeah.
and he's gone to Birmingham University
To do maths.
to do maths.
To play with numbers.
That's insane.
Play with numbers. Right, one more thing from me, quickly.
Oh, please help yourself.
This was on Bran. This was an interesting tidbit of trivia. Was that if you look at I think it's like the third season of the first book, the third chapter of the first book, where Robert Baratheon arrives in Winterfell and they're all doing a feast, and George R. R. Martin doesn't mention Bran, and there's this big theory. It's like, oh, he hasn't mentioned Bran. Bran must be a really interesting character. And George R. R. Martin in an interview was just like, no, I literally just forgot to put him in. So it's like, how fan theories. And another thing is Bran actually means something like raven in Old Irish, and he's a three-headed crow.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, yeah. I'll stop now. Someone else.
Well, it's been lovely,
Yeah.
guys, and I
It's been a journey that we probably should have taken quicker or slower, but we've got 200
We need
miles
2
to
hours.
travel very quickly.
I mean, I have to say, there's already a lot happening in April. There is Shazam, there's Endgame, there's Game of Thrones. I have to say that after this podcast, I was always pumped for Game of Thrones, but I'm super pumped for it now.
6 episodes.
Really,
1.5
9
I
hours.
was really
9
excited.
hours of
It's-
joy, and then we're going to get finished, and then there's going to be a machine gun in the different. No, that's something else.
Why don't you do the outro, Dave?
Okay, should I just do the outro?
Yeah,
You just do the
sponsors.
outro.
Well, okay,
Brazzers and Now TV.
well, this now, as we know, we'd like to thank our sponsors, both Pornhub. No.
What?
No, it was 80.
What?
No, it was 89 movies.
Oh,
Is that
God.
even
Now-
a thing? What is that?
No, back in 2005 it was.
We like to
Now-
thank our
now-
2005 sponsor.
now-
For anyone who used that, maybe just send us an email
I am-
and just say that you used it. You don't need to tell us what you watched. Just maybe acknowledge that you know the reference.
So we'd like to thank our sponsors of Now TV, Jelly Babies, and 89 movies. But thank you for joining us here tonight. I've been Dave.
I'm Tom. Jason.
Jason.
Yes, that's Jason. And
And we'll finish it off there. But thank you very much. Have a lovely evening.
Well, thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, congratulations!
if you would like to contact us, you can do that via Instagram or email. Our email is andnothinghappens@gmail.com, and you can find us on Instagram at andnothinghappens.